Mental authority. Mental authority by its very name is already confusing. So please, this is going to be maybe a bit confusing. Mental authority does not mean the mind is making the decision. What it means is you have two out of these three, or all three of these combinations. You could have the head and the ajna in the throat, or the head, ajna, and throat in that three combination. These two, or all three make up what is known as no inner authority, none possibly on your human design chart, or what we refer to in human design as outer or mental authority. Now, again, I understand that what I just said may sound confusing, but just if you look at your chart and you see that you have these two or all three, any of these pairs or all three, you have what is known as mental or outer authority. This combination can only be a projector, okay? So already we're back to aura. We're back to understanding that you need to be invited and recognized for what you have to bring. And what you have to bring is very, very specific, because you're only going to have a thinking process or the ability to express it that is going to be being invited. If people are inviting you to work, they're pressuring you with their emotions, they want you to, prove yourself, any of these other things that are not you, already those get eliminated. You can see that those aren't good invitations. When you have so little definition in your chart, what's easy to do is just get in the habit of, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And again, as a projector, you start to learn about your aura. Your aura is way, way more important than your authority. This authority piece will develop. For all projectors, again, remember, I said this earlier, but I recommend learning to taste the environment. You learn to taste the environment because you're eating it. You're literally eating it and taking in the energy of it. So if something does not taste good to you, already that's a keynote that you may probably in the wrong place. If you're not specifically invited to either express what you know or think about some issue for someone, hey, they're not really seeing you and they're not really inviting you. Now, the way you start to hear your authority is through your own voice, okay? And it does not matter whether the throat is defined or undefined for this scenario. The frequency-based authorities, what in human design have been laid out, is very hard to understand and difficult to comprehend, et cetera, et cetera. At least I've heard that in the past, and lots of teachers that even have trouble today really explaining it. What we've found here through our experimentation is these are some of the easiest to train. These are some of the easiest to know, because you can go out and work on it, like going to the gym. Just like the sacral being can do sacral sessions and get questions, the mental authority beings or the outer authority beings can go and talk with friends. We have lots of projectors here that just talk. And we have great mental authority people here on the island that they call up and they call me and talk to me. They talk to each other just so that they can hear the frequency of their own voice. It's through the frequency that you will really start to understand yourself and understand when you're really there and that's true for you, or is it time to shut up, projector? Because if you have this, you've been trying to get attention your whole life and you've been looking for recognition and all sorts of things that have nothing to do with you. And it's really an incredible thing. I mean, I'm thinking of some very close friends and examples that have just sat down and shut up, and they've waited painfully long, and slowly they are emerging as their own experts on these authorities, and they are available. They're available for consultation now because they've bled the ground red with their own experiment, and they've done what it took to sit down and relax into being a projector aura and understand something that no one really could explain to them. I couldn't really explain to them. What's been interesting for me is because I have these two centers defined, but it's cut way off from my body, I'm able to use this same type of strategy now as kind of a backup thing. Really, my authority lies in my spleen. But if I'm confused about something, I will call one of these mental projectors and we will chat. And I can just hear my voice. Is this real? No, it's just blah, blah. And sometimes we like to call it holding the bucket, because sometimes projectors just need to puke. And it's not correct to go puke on the other people. So we call each other and puke, and that can be a really helpful process too. Sometimes you just need to get it out, and that's okay. But it's not your truth, and you're not going to do anything with it. Again, if you're a projector, you have to be recognized. You have to be invited, and you have to be respected for who and what you are, or you're never going to get to taste the sweetness of your life. You know, it's a sweetness that you're looking for. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm assuring you, at least from our experience, that it's going to be painfully hard to break the conditioning of all those other open centers and the world trying to pressure you to be something you're not. So if you have this authority, you know, I encourage you to have at least one friend that you can call and just listen to the truth of yourself. Listen to the falseness that comes out of you. Man, for me, it's so easy to hear when someone's talking and it's just blah, blah. You know, we call it blah, blah here. We're going, oh, it was just blah, blah. It's okay if you just need to blah, blah. Sometimes you need to. But that's not your truth. That's not who you really are. That's not what you're here to bring. You know, if you're a projector, you're here to be recognized, appreciated and respected, loved for what you are. So if you have these authorities, good luck. And if you need some support, we're here and there's people here that can help you. Thank you.